A new way, that's what he'll give to you. Just turn your life over to Jesus. Over to Jesus. And he will give you a brand new life. Just turn your life over to Jesus. Over to Jesus. And he will fix it. He'll fix it for you. He'll fix it for you. Trouble coming your way. You don't know which way to turn to.
49 years of marriage, perhaps the two of you need a little romantic inspiration. Okay, now here we go. You know the nighttime is the right time to be with the one you love now. And I, oh baby, and I, come on baby, I wanna be the one I love now. You know what I'm thinking of. All the nighttime, oh, it's the right time to be the one you love now. I said to be the one you love. Oh, sing your song, my baby. I said, baby, and I want you by my side. I want you to keep me satisfied. I know nighttime, every day is the right time. Hey, to be the one you love now. Well, you know,
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of G-Force Ministries. I'm your host, Howard Horton. As always, I try to be on the side of truth. Today I'm talking about the Bill Cosby situation. The media always wants to call it the Bill Cosby scandal. I don't want to call it the Bill Cosby scandal because to me, there was no proof in scandal in the first place. I'll just call it the Bill Cosby accusation. And at the most, I would actually call it a Bill Cosby lynching or hanging. Or Bill Cosby lynching or hanging. Or Bill Cosby witch hunt. That's what I would call it. I would not call it a scandal because there's been no scandal proven. And the first thing I want to say is that this is part 2 of my other video. But first of all, like I said, people have the right, God gives them the right to remain innocent until proven guilty. And none of us see the whole picture. We're not God. So we can't sit up there and just say, I know everything they're doing because you weren't there. You don't know what the motives of people are. And you know that people will lie when it comes to a lot of money. A person with a lot of money. That's just obvious. And so Bill Cosby is no different. People lie all the time. Now I want to put up a picture. I'll show you guys. And I think I love this comparison because I mentioned last time how Michael Jackson was accused and vehemently, disgustingly attacked for years over lies that in court were proven to be lies, but yet the media continued to bash him, continued to make just nasty jokes, hounded him everywhere he went, to the point where people did start to not buy his albums. And how this did all have an effect on his mental state, and you know how he couldn't sleep and so forth. That's really why he sought out the help of Comrade Murray in the first place to sleep because of all the stress he was under and all the years of that affected him. And so people want to say, well, he was just a drug addict and all this stuff, but they don't want to look at all the stuff and he really wasn't a drug addict. Let me say that. What he did was medically approved. He was doing it. He actually had physical ailments. He had lupus. He had, bone pain. He had injuries that he had to deal with. He also had the 3rd-degree burns. So, of course, if you have an ailment and you need drugs, that's not a drug addict. Now, some drugs can have addictive properties, but they can still be, subscribed by a doctor. So that's not a drug addict. A drug addict is somebody who knows something has harmful effects and does it on purpose for the purpose of getting high when they know it's still going to have a negative effect. But if you entrust yourself to a physician and they give you this advice, which several physicians gave him, and he had enough equipment to be able to take care of it, that's not a drug addict, you see. But in the same way, you see, the media called him a drug addict because they always have to take the negative, way when it comes to black men. Whatever he did, they had to take it into a negative. Oh, he was trying to help children, hopeless children. So obviously, that was inappropriate because he should have never been in a room with children alone. I mean, how many of us have been in a room with children alone? Doesn't mean we're rapists. Well, anyway, it's I'm just looking at the comparison here between these two very powerful black men in America who broke records and went across barriers that many felt that they shouldn't. There's many racist men who really felt they shouldn't have went across those barriers and never would have given them those opportunities. But because of the God-given gifts they had, these transcended race and there's no such thing as race. I should say ethnicity, because really we all want human race. So we should stop saying race anyway. But transcended ethnicity and transcended age and so forth. Transcends time, really. These are timeless. We can still look at some of these jokes from the Cosby Show and we see the genius of it. How you can hear it again and again, or you can still hear a Michael Jackson song, and it's really a gift from God that goes beyond them. That is timeless. Just like if I would listen to a song from Bach or Beethoven. But what I'm saying is that even though these gifts transcended, in the end, there's people who still who are devilish people, still want to hold them down, and even more so, they're mad that they made the way for all of us. And I said all of us African Americans who came after them. And that's why I'm just so disgusted that this black comedian was the one who started this whole lynch mob thing. This black comedian who decided to do this just so he can get publicity. But I have to say I'm not surprised. It's not the first time that black comedians have turned on an actor. Over and over again, this has happened before with Michael Jackson. In fact, half of the, crass things that were said before even the white media got a hold of it, or even felt comfortable to do it because they were afraid of black, retaliation. They felt like, we would support Michael Jackson, was from, black comedians who repeatedly kept saying he didn't know if he was white or black, and they didn't know his nose was right. And then after that, the Caucasian people in the media started taking a hold of it. I'm not making this about white and black as far as it's all wrong. The point is the man was innocent and didn't deserve to be treated that way just because he had a plastic surgery, and people have the prerogative to do what they want. And if he had a skin disease, that's not something he can control. But all this they attached to the fact that they wanted to say they were trying to prove that he was now also a rapist. Because I think, this is the bottom line. Underneath all this, because of slavery, because of the brainwashing of 200 years, that black men are inferior and they're really animals, they're monkeys. And then you can put a monkey in a suit, it's still a monkey, you see. And so that's the mentality. We're not really men. We've just been allowed to be acting like men. But we are men, and God created us. But what I'm saying is that they still want to say, something has to be wrong. Even though they got all this power and all this wealth, eventually we're going to prove something was wrong with them. They're going to prove it. And I think that the end result, they're trying to shape things to already a preconceived, ideology that black men are inferior. So therefore, we have to find something wrong. So that's the way some people think. I'm not saying everybody. Most people are just following suit they're just following other people. They're just saying something because somebody else said it. And because they saw some news person say it or somebody, they assume it's real. And so most people do that because they trust the people on TV. They let them tell them what to think. So anyway, so you see, when you look at this whole thing, we've seen this before. That's my whole point. We've seen this before. We've seen this with OJ. We've seen this with the BBC. Y'all want to say, what, OJ? Yes, OJ. Actually, there was a whole documentary done by the BBC that proved that OJ didn't even have the weapons that they were seen there. There was a lot more footprints found at the scene that the cops kind of ignored. And they also, by the way, walked through the evidence. There's a lot more blood that was put there than originally was there. There's a lot of suspicious things going on, you know. And they want to say, oh, he was just this super black man. He just killed both of them and dragged their bodies out there by himself. And nobody noticed. And, you know, nobody saw nothing. You know, it's like, anyway, that's a whole other conversation. Actually, they proved that it was probably his son who had a mental problem, who was estranged. And Nicole Kidman was actually dating his son. So it was a lot of weird stuff going on. After she divorced him, she actually started dating his son. She was sleeping around. Also, she had drug ties. But my point is, none of that was brought out. All that was brought out was OJ's a monster trying to run for his life. And because he's trying to run, he's a monster. He just got away with it because he had this wonder lawyer who just knew how to be deceptive. That black, genie. They want to act like he just, it had nothing to do with evidence. It was just that he knew how to be deceptive. That's the way they always want to characterize us. Like, we just devils, like, we just deceptive, and we can get our way out of stuff, and we're inhuman. But the truth is, no. We are human beings, and God just has mercy on us because so many things are against us. And I want to say, people say you play the race card, but you can't play the race card when the deck is against you. I'll say it again. You can't play a card when the whole deck is against you. See, and that's the way it is with these black men. It's already against them. When they were trying to play, they were just trying to play with the little card they did have. The whole deck is coming against them, and even in their old age, they always end up poor and dead. This is what Michael Jackson was talking about. And they did the same thing to him. It's like they can't escape. Bill Cosby, after all these honors, after all he did, it's like it's all being buried. Like he's just being buried alive with lies. Same thing with Michael Jackson. They forgot everything he did, every beneficial thing, all the children he helped, all the good he did. It didn't matter. In the end, he was nothing but a nigga. And I'm going to say that word, nigga. Because that is a dehumanizing word, and that's what they're doing to him. You know, and like I said, I don't know if I got cut off, but, Janice Dickerson. Let me just talk about these women for a minute. Janice Dickerson claims that he raped her, that he did this to her, that he drugged her. But first she said, actually, that he was helping her because she was already coming from rehab. So she was already in a problem state, and he said he was trying to help her. That's what she said. He said before she came up with this story. Now, also there's a book that Bill Cosby's lawyer brought out that she had in her own biography, in her own words, said that Bill Cosby blew her off. This is in 2002 for sex, and that she didn't really want sex, and that he blew her off. So, either he raped her or he blew you off, Now she wants to say, well, I hid it for so many years, I've been hurting myself. I mean, come on, lady. Come on, lady. Why would you write that in a biography when nobody else, his lawyers didn't influence her, he didn't influence her? That was way after the fact of when she said this happened. So why didn't she just tell the truth then? Why did she decide just now? Why didn't she tell the truth in 2002? It wasn't that long ago compared to when she said it originally happened back in the 80s. So that right there should show you guys that she's a liar. Not to mention, there's the evidence that when she was on the Tyra Banks show, and Tyra Banks fired her because they thought she wasn't, I guess that great anymore. Then she immediately lashed out and said it's a fake show and everybody on there is fake. That's what she does. Whenever she starts losing publicity, she wants to get negative attention, so she comes out with a story to keep her publicity, and then she can make millions of dollars off that, getting the interviews and so forth. And then she sues Bill Cosby, and he can give her another settlement, hey, she gets a lot of money. Because, I mean, what's Miss Allred? I'm sorry. Gloria Allred actually said she wants $100 million. Do you know how much money that is per person? $100 million? $100 million? How many will each of those women get? Just each of those women, those 20 women, they would get a piece of $100 million. Okay? Now, you can say it's not about money if you want to, but you're being naive if you think that. 'Cause that's a lot of money. Maybe you don't need just a piece of $100 million. Maybe you don't need that. It's a percentage of it. If I say I'll give you $100 million, a percentage, y'all would want it. So don't think just because you're moral that everybody's moral and they don't want that. And let me say this. Let's talk about the other two that recently came out. The one that says she was a 15-year-old. They made a big deal out of it. Oh, what's a big deal? And why isn't Bill Cosby saying something? Let me say this first of all. Because someone doesn't say something doesn't mean anything. They have the right to remain silent. Even the police tell you that. That doesn't mean anything. And that's why we have lawyers. That's why his lawyer is speaking out. The media is just mad because they can't have him say something and twist his words. See, you have to realize the media machine, they don't care about any of these people. They don't care about any celebrities. They can destroy them just as well as they lift them up. They don't care which way they go, whether they're coming in, going up, or coming down. They make money. The media, whether it's negative or positive. They don't care if they're inhuman people. They get to the point. It's just like when somebody's a doctor, they can get used to just cutting people open and blood getting on them. They get desensitized. Well, I think people in the media a lot of times don't even know they do it. They get desensitized to being a human being and caring about the stories you're telling. They don't care if it's negative or positive. They just want the media and the news scoops so they can put it out there and get ratings. So these people don't care if it's true or not. They're very desensitized. A lot of these people, and they're getting paid off. A lot of these people. It's kind of like payola, back in the day when they had the radio stations, and you paid the person to make your song a hit. Well, I think it's the same way now today. You got people with payola for paying off these newscasters to make somebody look bad. There used to be something called blacklisting. Well, if they didn't like you, they could blacklist you from Hollywood. They would all talk together and say, we ain't gonna hire you. Well, it's the same thing now. Somebody could just have it out for Bill Cosby. You guys don't realize there's a lot of stuff going on behind there. Bill Cosby almost bought NBC. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of things that he was about to do that some people didn't want him to do. That's all I can say. He revolutionized TV for African Americans, and there's a lot of people that's still mad about that. And these people are devil possessed. Like I said before, devil oppressed, because only the devil wants to attack someone for using their God-given gifts for a positive purpose. Only the devil wants to only have some people prosper, not everybody. You see, and so I'm just saying they're motivated by the devil. I'm not calling them devils. I'm saying that there is a spirit called the devil, and he is about greed, and that's another conversation. You can believe the Bible or not, but there is. Okay, now let me just say this. So the 15-year-old came out, said this. I mean, she was 15 at the time. Now, they're all old women. Okay. Okay, now, they went to she even said, let's go to the law about this. I'm willing to let them be investigated. See, the police, these people are so bold to lie because they really don't think the law is going to investigate it. But the police went ahead and decided to investigate it and found that her stuff was false. Now, this is not the first time this happened. The first woman who came out, who said it in the first place in 2005, they found that her allegations were false when they actually put it to the test of evidence. Doesn't that bother people? I don't understand. What do we have to do? When evidence comes out, that's when people should say, hey, wait a minute. The evidence is not lining up with their stories. But they don't seem to care about this. Like I said, Janice Dickinson in her own book said exactly the opposite, that he blew her off for sex. When will this matter? That's what I want to know. And then, finally, I want to say about the last woman. And, these women are getting so vague with their story. That's the other thing. Half of the women just say, basically, I believe the same things other women said. And this last woman, she was dating Sammy Davis Jr. Hello. The Rat Pack, these guys smoked a lot. They did a lot of partying, did a lot of stuff with a lot of women. And I mean, I respect the man, but honestly, come on. These guys were very loose back then, okay? And if anybody one of them might have hurt her. But, I mean, she admits, this same woman has been documented to say that when she was dating this man, Sammy Davis, that she was on drugs most of the time. This is her own words, folks. She also says in the editorial that this was just something you did back then to her. And she said that actually she was there when Richard Pryor caught himself on fire. That's how high they were, okay? She was there when it happened. And did she say she stopped it? No. She didn't give those details. How did he get caught on fire? The man was smoking a lot. But she was smoking right with him. She said, I was on drugs. Also, she said she was there the night before John Belushi lost his life. She was partying with him the night before he lost his life. It's almost like an accessory to murder. I mean, honestly. So this woman, honestly, is so high. When she gets high, she doesn't care about the loss of life. She doesn't care about what she's doing. She doesn't know what she's doing. How do we know she wasn't high and imagined the whole thing? How do we know she wasn't high and thought he was grabbing on her? I mean, this woman got stoned regularly. And I'm not saying that to diss her person. I believe, the Lord can help her or whatever. But what I'm saying is that if she was this type of person then, why is it now all of a sudden she's this honest, pure person? And this is what really bothers me. That whenever the media wants someone to be innocent, they are innocent. Whenever they want somebody who is innocent to be evil, they can make them evil. And that's what you guys have got to realize. It's how they slant it. They put the person up there in a white suit and have them sit there and hold their hands and cry. And they pat their hands and say, oh, are you okay? I mean, Barbara Walters did a very nice interview of Saddam Hussein. And in the interview, she talked to him very respectfully. And she talked to him about these pictures that he had up of himself. And she asked him, well, do you think that's a little egotistical? And he said, no, I don't feel it's egotistical. This man is sitting there letting his sons throw people in the paper shredders. But the respect and the way she did the interview, because I guess she felt she had to do it that way to even get the interview. But I'm not dissing her, but I'm just trying to say you can make anyone look respectful on camera. Hitler mastered this. He drove around in his car with his suit and his hat, but he was nothing but a grimy monster, right? And so what I'm saying is people who are liars can appear to be good on the camera. And they know how to cry. Especially these people, these type of people who are high profile like Janice Dickinson. She is paid to act to be a woman on camera who can, on a dot, cry as a model. Half these people are lawyers, man. Or they're friends of lawyers now. And if just because they come and hug each other and say, oh, we're all together, we were victims. They are manipulating folks, man. They're manipulating us. And see, the only victim today, I'm telling you, is Bill Cosby. His daughter already came out and screamed and yelled and tried to tell us he's a good dad to me. He helped me. He was a good father. And then we had people like Whoopi Goldberg and all these people came out and said, well, we don't know it's true. But see, they were quickly overcome by the media. They were quickly shut up, As soon as they said something, they were quickly shut up. And see, that's because once people are so, I'm going to say this, so many people worship the TV. They worship these people on TV. These talk shows have become their God and their church. And whatever these people say, immediately they're ready to just jump on. Yeah, I knew. I knew he wasn't perfect. Talking about Jello pudding. I know what he's talking about, Jello pudding, huh? That's how crazy people are. Immediately, they jump on the bandwagon. They love you today, hate you tomorrow. Look what they did to Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, perfect man, God in flesh, rose the dead. Can't nobody else rise the dead. Now these people knew they're gonna die one day, and they might need somebody to raise them up. But yet they didn't think that was important enough to not want to kill them. You see, that's how the devil can manipulate you, and you don't even realize it, because they weren't in complete control of their actions. They were being manipulated by something else, something evil, and that's the devil. And he uses greed, and that's the bottom line. And the big thing is fear of not being in the crowd. That's why most people said crucify him. That's why they went along with it, because they're afraid they weren't going to be with the religious leaders. And God allowed it for our salvation. I'm not dissing, the whole people, but I'm talking about is the sinful nature that the devil takes on people and uses them, manipulates them when he wants to get rid of somebody. And so Bill Cosby is a good male example, and that's very little in the world today. And so if he can get rid of him, then he can take out a whole bunch of other people. So you kill two birds with one stone. You see what I'm saying? And that's what's happening, folks. Whether you realize it or not, that's what's happening. And so God bless you. I'm here to speak out for Bill Cosby. I'm saying this, and just because somebody is accused of something doesn't mean they did it, y'all. And the evidence that's mounting, what y'all saying is mounting evidence, is actually mounting in the other way. Because, see, people are looking at evidence is the amount of people saying something. That's not evidence. Evidence is the actual documented facts of what happened and how it happened. And that this person can prove it happened like that. That's evidence. That's how you get down to court. And when you sit there and sit and question someone on the details. In fact, even in court, even if they never even get physical evidence, if they question a person and they tell a different story after they told their first story, or they give a deposition in court, they tell a different story, that's admissible as evidence that this person is telling two different stories. Well, what about Janice Dickerson, huh? And what about the fact, like I said last time, the woman said she was drugged for 30 minutes, which is impossible, dragged through a restaurant where people saw her being drugged, and taken out when it was the middle of the day. They know she couldn't be drunk because it was the middle of the day. They were sitting there eating or whatever. They just eat, It's craziness what they're saying. And most of these women that sit up here are just, I'm telling you, all they're doing is just copycatting the other women. Because, they got this, they are being schooled by a lawyer. They're being told what to say. If y'all want to get this across, this is what you're going to do. You need to say exactly what she said. Just change it up a little bit. Just say you were drugged, but we ain't going to say what kind of drug it is. We ain't going to be specific. And you all ain't going to say you were drugged. You're going to say, he just touched me. Touched you where? Oh, he tried to open my legs. He tried to touch me on the shoulder. He tried to massage me. That's what most of them are saying, like stupid stuff like that. That doesn't mean rape. And they know that. But they just want to add to it so that people will say, look at the amount of women that's saying this. Oh my gosh, it was just two at first, but oh my gosh. I mean, how would we live if we did? If we did that every day? Like, I'll be like, okay, listen, I did not steal $100 from you. Hey, well, you know what? Two people said you stole it. Well, where were they standing? Well, one was standing behind you when it happened. The other one was standing way over there. And the other one was standing... Wait, forget standing behind me. Okay, bad example. That one was standing like way over there in the building upstairs. And the other one was standing, way behind the other building. Oh, we didn't talk about where they were standing. You just said two people said it. So that's the way it is with this. You got to look at all the details. And I'm not just holding on to be holding on. I'm holding on because I'm seeing it happen again. But you guys are the ones in the dark. A lot of you can't see. It's like you can see this happen 50 times and you would never see that it's the same thing again. It's the same thing again. As soon as a black man gets to a certain amount of power, and he has a certain amount of power, an accusation of some sort comes out against him to bring him down. Because that's the only way they can bring him down. Because we support each other and because black people know that racism is already against them. And so it's hard for them, to get through that way. But this demon of racism still wants to bring them down. It's a demon. I ain't talking about people. The people are just the vessels. But this demon of racism still want to bring black men down. So what they do is this demon finds a way to accuse them. Or somebody touched me. Oh, he hugged me. And back in 1952, and I know when he hugged me, he meant to have sex with me. Just because he hugged me, he happened to put his arms around me like this. That was rape, Michael Jackson, he gave me milk and cookies. So obviously he was evil. He was having sex with me because he gave me milk and cookies. Because he helped millions of sick kids who never said he raped them. He let thousands of sick kids come to Neverland who never said he raped them. But because this one or two said that, and even though one of them recanted, then another one, when he became an adult, recanted. And even though the third one had no evidence, we're going to still call him a rapist and call him a pedophile and destroy his career. And then we're going to keep saying his career is over and he's a has-been. We act like that didn't just happen. This is what's amazing to me, especially for black people. That's amazing how we can just be so easily manipulated again. It's the same thing, y'all. It's not nothing different. It's not nothing different. It's the same thing. And you got all these angry black women yelling at me going, what don't you care about? What do you care about the women? You just, and they're cursing me out. And, F you, man, you know, why don't you care about the women? Don't you know they were just victims? Listen, I think that Jill Scott cares about the women. I think that if you won't take it from me, take it from other women who also are saying the same thing, who are high profile. Take it from Raven Simone, who was on the show, who said the same thing. If you don't believe me, you think because I'm a man, I'm biased, why are all these women saying it? And let me ask you this. Just because there are a lot of women who are gold diggers, does that mean that you're a gold digger? You're just a gold digger because you're a black woman? Is that what? I mean, we could go any way with generalizations. We could go any way we want. But the bottom line is, you can't accuse somebody of something if you didn't got evidence that they did something. And that goes for everyday life. Not just in big accusations, but in the little ones. Sometimes the little white lies can be worse than the big ones. You know. So, I mean, God bless you, Bill Cosby. Stay encouraged.
A new way.